Let me talk to the men out there listening real quick. Guys, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction, fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances? Hey, low libido, ask your girlfriend or wife. She'll let you know if you're suffering from that or not. That's sex drive. If you'll text my name, Clay, in all caps to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550, Men's Health of Mississippi and the Clay Edwards Show are going to hook you up with a free testosterone screening. They're located in Madison, Mississippi at 120 Fountains Boulevard. You can check them out online, menshealthms.com. But one more time, text my name, all caps, Clay, to 601-327-8550 and get your free testosterone screening scheduled today. Enjoy the rest of this show. Boom, shakalaka boom. It is a Monday morning here live on the Clay Edwards Show. I am Clay Edwards. You're tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I know I did. I'm still feeling it a little bit. I went out and had a really good time Saturday night for my birthday. I appreciate everybody who said, hey, sent me a birthday wish, bought me a shot. Well, maybe people that bought me shots. I don't know if I'm happy with y'all or not, but I kid. I should have said no. Anyway, we had a good time. Thank you for everybody for all the well wishes and whatnot. It was a great birthday, as always. Made it another year, another trip around the sun, as they say. Let's see how much crazy stuff happens in my life between now and the next one. It's always kind of fun to judge that. Here in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios with me this morning, a special guest. It's his second or third appearance here on the show. We got Dr. Micah Walker with Men's Health of Mississippi. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Doing well. So Friday I was on the show and I was talking about a photo that I had taken, and I was kind of hesitant about posting it on Facebook. You know, my weight loss journey, and I had my before and my current. I'm going to really call it an after because I'm not done. But my current before got a lot of traction on there. People are like, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? You know, well, it's a lot of hard work. You know, there's no cheat code, so to say, but there is kind of a cheat code. And, you know, for me, it's been really taking advantage of my testosterone replacement therapy and the energy that I get from that, the drive that gives me. It helps me achieve my goals in other aspects, in other ways. You know, so it's like all the things that's listed on there that it does, it actually dang does. You know, for us guys in our mid-40s, late 40s, it is definitely a bit of the fountain of youth, so to say. And I got off the phone with you, and you called me, or you gave me a call, and you were telling me that it's legal, or y'all figured out how to do the compounded semaglutide again.
Yeah, so there were some changes last year, about a year ago, that made it difficult in the state of Mississippi for patients to access compounded medications for weight loss. And the concern around those was the safety of the supply at the time, because these things were hitting the market, and there were some pharmacies that were not really on the up and up and were kind of unscrupulous in their practices. But since then, over the past year, there's been a lot of positive developments in that area. And the State Board of Medical Licensure and the State Pharmacy Board have opened back up the option of compounded weight loss medications, specifically semaglutide and tirzepatide, which people know as either, as Ozempic or Wegovy. Those are the semaglutide brands, and the tirzepatide are Mounjaro and Zepbound. And so the compounded medications those being available again is really a huge thing because of the cost difference. So like just a monthly supply of the brand medications, if you can find them, because they're on the short supply list and they're kind of hard to get. But it's anywhere from $1,100 to $1,400 a month.
For like Ozempic or the name brand stuff.
Right, for the Zepbound or the Wegovy for weight loss. And that's just out of the reach of most people with their financial resources. And then the other challenge is, it's like, even if you have health insurance, odds are your health insurance doesn't provide coverage for that class of medications because of how expensive they are. So there are people in the state that have great health insurance and they have some level of coverage for the medicines, and a lot of times the insurance works for them. But I think the vast majority of Mississippians have no insurance coverage for these medicines, and in Mississippi, our state is pretty overweight. So weight loss is a big factor for a lot of people, and losing weight would improve most people's overall health.
Hey, I think we're top 5, maybe 3 in most obese states. So
yeah.
it's definitely a health factor here. And I remember when this all first started coming out, there was a big fuss between people for type 2 diabetics and because I guess it's some of the insulin. I know there was just a big fuss. Like people were very mad that they were having a harder time getting their diabetes medicine. And I rationalized it like this. I say, well, this is preventive medicine for some people. So, I mean, it's still the same thing.
Right, yeah. I mean, most people who are significantly overweight are, to some degree, insulin resistant or what we call pre-diabetic, And so these medicines benefit those people because when you lose weight, your blood sugar control improves and you can actually have normal glucose levels again after you've lost a certain amount of weight. The trouble around it initially was, and still remains, is that for people who have insurance coverage, because most insurances cover these medicines for diabetes, even if they don't cover it for weight loss, they cover it for diabetes. But when it's being used, when the brand name medications are being used for weight loss, it decreases the supply available for patients who are diabetic. And so that was a big, it's kind of an ethical dilemma, when you're writing and using medicines off label for something. And a lot of that was before we had a label indication for weight loss, for obesity, before they came out with the Wegovy and the Zepbound, which are the same medicines as Ozempic and Mounjaro, but they just have a different label because of the way the pharmacy industry works. A lot of the Ozempic supply was getting used for weight loss, and so it was decreasing the supply available. And so these medications still remain on the shortage list. Like the manufacturers cannot make enough of them for the demand.
Well, I've heard that Ozempic, who makes Ozempic? Is that Pfizer or one of them?
Eli Lilly makes the tirzepatide. I think Novo Nordisk makes Ozempic.
Whichever one it is their most profitable medicine they've ever done.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, and you have to appreciate some of the nuances of the pharmaceutical industry in the U.S. because, like in Mexico and the country of Turkey, you can buy Ozempic for $200 a month. Okay, but if you're an American, it's $1,400 a month. Why?
I understand why.
Right. Well, we're the profit center of the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but the benefit of the compounded medication is that, if you're getting your compounded medication from a good, reputable compounding pharmacy that's doing all of the testing of what we call the active pharmaceutical ingredient or the API, verifying the chemical makeup of what they're using as a raw material, and they're basically, these compounding pharmacies, they operate really as a drug manufacturer. They're held to very similar standards as medicines that you would get from a Pfizer or any big company in the drug industry. So these aren't like mom and pop compounding pharmacies down the corner. These are national compounding pharmacies that have manufacturing facilities that follow all of the FDA regulations around compounding, and then have licenses in the states where they distribute medications. And so the new rules that were just put in place by the medical board and the pharmacy board here in the past month or so have opened it up for physicians to prescribe the compounded medications as long as we are verifying. It's our responsibility to verify that the compounding pharmacy that we're using has quality control measures in place to guarantee, to make sure that the public is safe, that they're not getting a medicine that could be, adulterated, contaminated. It's got to be sterile. It's got to be the right medicine in the vial. Before I went into medicine, I actually worked in pharmaceutical manufacturing for 10 years, and I made sterile injectable drugs that were sold in used in every hospital in the United States. And so the compounding pharmacies that we use, and the verification and background information that I have made sure that our compounding pharmacies are good and reputable and safe for our patients. And we've gotten incredible results in the past and continue to get those results with the compounded semaglutide.
Yeah, so when I first, I guess it's about a year and a half or so now, when I first discovered you guys and I got to taking the testosterone, I did for, I want to say 2 months. I try to remember back here, about 2 months, did the compounded semaglutide. And I was telling you before we came on there, I was thinking it was a month, but it was 2 months. I lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Now I kind of got off that and I didn't really keep my diet like the way it needed to be. Got comfortable, all that good stuff. I gained that 20 pounds plus back. Actually, I think I gained about 35 pounds back, but neither here nor there. If you use it to jumpstart your weight loss, to create new eating habits,
right?
And if you stick with that after you are done with the medicine, you will stay in shape. I read a bunch of stuff. People say, "Oh, you gain everything, you lose right back." Well, you will if you don't eat right,
right?
And you continue to pick up your bad habits.
I mean, weight loss is a challenging thing to accomplish for most people, but it's a very simple concept. I mean, it's pretty much the opposite of saving money, right? So with money, you want to spend less than you earn, right? Well, and that builds your savings account, right? Well, if you think about in your body, the amount of fat that you have in your body is kind of like your calorie savings account. And so you actually want to be doing the opposite. You want to run at a deficit. If you want to lose weight, you have to eat fewer calories than you burn every day. And that's how you get consistent weight loss. And so that's a simple concept, but it's very difficult for people to do because it requires so much discipline. And there's nothing magic like these medications, the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. They don't make you burn calories differently. They change your relationship with food. And so I describe it to people. It's like if you sat down and you went to a seafood buffet, and you didn't eat all day, so you knew you were going to this buffet, and you just killed it. You went to the buffet, and you went back to the buffet line like 4 times. And so, but at the end of it, you feel miserable because you overate. And you overate, and you stretched your stomach to the point that your stomach's sending signals to your brain to stop. Don't do anymore, And you feel miserable, and you're like, I'm never going to do that again. Now, these medications, if you overate, it kind of augments that signal to the brain that tells, we call it satiety. It's a sense of being full. It's a sense of being satisfied, okay? And most of us, if you eat fast, which a lot of people do, they eat faster than their stomach can send the signal to their brain to stop, and they overeat because they eat fast. But these medicines, what happens is like, so normally if you sat down and ate a plate.
So it's better to eat slow, right?
It's better to eat slower.
And get full.
Right? And because when you eat fast, you actually consume more calories because you're not letting your brain, you're kind of overriding that signal that you get from your stomach to your brain that, hey, well, I'm full. You can stop eating now. And so, But these medications kind of make it where if normally you could eat 3,000 calories at a sit-down meal, now when you get, and that's a full plate of food, now when you eat half a plate of food, you feel full. So you eat less.
I could tell you personally, I want to say I took my shots on Thursdays. Friday night's always steak night at my house. It's the end of the week. I like to grill steak. And it sabotaged my steak night for 2 months because I would cook these steaks and I would sit down and take 2 bites and be like, I don't want another bite of food.
But you felt satisfied. You felt like you didn't, you didn't need any more.
But then it also reminded me, food is such a social contagion, so to say, around here. Like we eat to do everything.
Right.
We eat to socialize, to commiserate, for comfort. I was still getting all of that satisfaction of hanging out with my girlfriend, cooking food, doing all that stuff, going to the grocery store to get it, just all the social activities.
Right.
And then I just wasn't miserable when I got through.
Well,
and your body will tell you you're not hungry. Sometimes you got to put a bite of food in your mouth to realize it. But it's like, hey, this works. No, don't get me wrong. I didn't waste my steak. It got ate over the next couple of days.
Right.
But still, so I kind of doubled as meal prep too.
And this is kind of anecdotal, and there's no research, there's no label indication or anything for it. But these medicines, I've seen them help people decrease their alcohol consumption.
That too.
Because they kind of get in a routine. They come home, they drink 3 tall boys in their recliner, and while they're watching TV, and now they drink 1 beer and they feel full, and they don't drink the next 2, and that's extra calories, it's extra alcohol, it's just overall not healthy for us. Yep. And I've seen a lot of patients who they've taken the medicine for the benefit of weight loss, but then it's actually helped them in that other aspect of their life that they maybe didn't even realize they had a problem with. They drink less wine, they drink less beer, and it helps them change their habits, because it doesn't modify their behavior, but it modifies the way their body responds to their behavior in a way that it helps them make a change. And then the patients, some patients may need medicines for years to maintain, and that's not a bad thing if you think about it. I mean, if you have high blood pressure, you take high blood pressure medicine every day.
Yeah.
If you're obese, and medicine every day would keep you from being obese, and it would improve your overall health and eventually like your longevity and your quality of life as you're aging, then why wouldn't you take a weight loss medicine every day if you needed it?
Hold that thought. Let's take a break real quick. We got Dr. Micah Walker, Men's Health in Mississippi, here in the studio discussing weight loss with you this morning, and new medicines that have been cleared by the Board of Health for you to save money and lose weight. We'll tell you how you can get it and more. I got a few questions about it too when we come back. This is the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 FM, WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Watkins Construction and Roofing. We had some hail come through the area. What was that, Friday afternoon in Pearl there? And then last night we had a nice little hailstorm push through. If you think your roof may have gotten any damage, reach out to my friends over at Watkins Construction today. They'll come out. They're going to do a complimentary roof assessment, see if you got any damage. If you do, they'll get it situated. They'll work with your insurance company the entire step of the way. Or every step of the way, should I say. They're going to be professional. They're going to be courteous. They're going to clean up after themselves. They're going to take care of your landscaping, and it's going to be done right. You're going to have somebody in constant communication with you throughout the entire process. You're not going to be left in the dark wondering what's going on when you're dealing with Watkins Construction and Roofing. You reach out to them today, again, for your complimentary roof inspection if you think you may have gotten any damage from the hailstorm or any other time for that matter, at WatkinsConstructionInc.com, or just Google Watkins Construction. It'll pop up. Everything right there. Boom, boom, boom. It's over 600 5-star reviews right there on Google. Kind of read through them and find out why. Pretty much everything I just told you right there in that little ad read. So check them out today. That's Watkins Construction and Roofing. We're joined here in the studio this morning, Dr. Micah Walker, Men's Health of Mississippi. But, hey, guys, what we're talking about this morning is weight loss and semaglutides, or kind of a compounded version of Ozempic out there for people who may be more familiar with that name. This is for men and women, by the way. The Men's Health of Mississippi is just part of this great clinic they have over there. And they have the women's clinic upstairs. They have a Micah, help me out here.
Yeah, so when I started out of residency, I guess 7 years ago, my primary care practice is called New Care MD. It's been around for about 8 years now. And then we realized, there was a gap in terms of there wasn't a primary care clinic designed for guys. And so we started Men's Health of Mississippi, and then I had a couple of guys' wives come in, and they got upset with me because their husbands had a clinic, but they didn't have a clinic. So we added another clinic, Women's Wellness of Mississippi, and so we really have care for everybody, no matter where they are in life. Me personally, as a physician, my youngest patient will be 2 weeks old. I see them for their first well baby check after they come home from the hospital with mom, and my oldest patient is 97 years old. And so I do full spectrum family medicine, do procedures, take care of all manner of chronic conditions, diabetes, hypertension, and then also do a lot of procedures, whether it's like women's health procedures, like I do IUD insertions. So I practice full scope family medicine in my New Care clinic, and then we also upstairs in our women's clinic we do women's primary care and hormone replacement and weight loss, and then we also do some aesthetics, Botox injections, filler injections, some aesthetic procedures. And then in our men's clinic, we treat all the primary care issues for men, diabetes, hypertension. We treat a lot of testosterone replacement because there's a big need for that. But we don't just treat hormones. We treat the whole person and whatever medical issues they may have. Now, there'll be things that are above and beyond my knowledge level where we will refer out to specialists. But as a primary care physician, I'm able to take care of 90% of what people need. And weight loss is a big need. It's a huge need. Mississippi, we were just talking, Mississippi's third in the nation in terms of obesity. At one point, I think we were first. And I don't think we're third now because we've gotten better. I think we're third now because a couple of other states have gotten worse.
The difference in first and third, Louisiana's first at 40.1, Oklahoma 40.0, and Mississippi at 39.5. So it's a half a point separates us from first to third.
And so, when you look at Mississippi, so I'm from Holmes County, Mississippi. I grew up near Chula, Mississippi, and where I grew up, the average life expectancy of a male is 10 years less than the national average. And so, health, just wellness is the driving factor of that. Untreated hypertension, obesity, diabetes, all these chronic conditions. And the thing is weight loss factors into all of those because it doesn't take, the average American is obese, and so I kind of got a view of that. I went with some buddies down to Argentina on a hunt, and we were walking through the airport, and you can just pick out the Americans because we're giants. Yeah, I'm 5'9", and I was like a head taller than most people in the airport. And definitely a lot fluffier.
Yeah. I told you on the phone I went and got that DEXA scan done.
Yeah.
And I don't consider, I'm not trying to paint rose-colored glasses here. I don't look in the mirror and see an obese person when I see myself.
Right.
But in all the measurables that they do, it shows I'm obese. But the thing that the lady said that kind of jumped out the most in my DEXA scan was the visceral fat around the organs. So that's what we got to work on.
Yeah, and that's something, that's a big factor for men compared to women. The way that we store fat differently, one of the things, the women get frustrated with guys because men tend to lose weight faster when they make their mind up to do it. But a lot of that comes from the fact that men tend to carry their extra fat around their organs inside their abdomen, like it's internal fat, which is kind of the beer gut, pot belly, dad bod look, right? Yeah. So the firm, kind of distended abdomen And so it's not that you have that much external, what we call subcutaneous fat between the skin and the abdominal muscles. It's that internal fat around the organs. And that fat is more metabolically active, which is why it goes away faster when you diet or exercise or get on a weight loss regimen. But it also means, because it's more metabolically active, it has a bigger effect on overall health, heart health, blood pressure, all of those things. So the way, an overweight male with a lot of visceral fat, that's going to create a real negative impact on that individual's long-term health. And so it's more about, for guys, if it's that waist measurement, like, you're around, when you measure your waist around your belly button compared to your hips, it should be about a 1-to-1 ratio. And if it's not, you're kind of carrying too much extra fat inside your abdomen, what we call visceral fat.
Yeah, from like a 42 to like a 36.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I know, it's like, that's why I was like really dead set on losing that. And
because the thing is, like, BMI is just a calculation. It's a ratio of weight and height. Mm-hmm. And so BMI, while it's a easy thing to calculate, it doesn't really reflect. It doesn't reflect for everybody. What's a healthy weight. Body fat percentage is a much better indicator of that, but you've got to do a DEXA scan or they do some studies where they determine how dense you are based on how much water you displace. Like, they put you in a pool, mm-hmm. and they actually calculate your body fat percentage from that.
Interesting.
So like me, I'm a little on the heavier side. I need to lose some weight. So if I jump in a saltwater pool, I float.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm not as dense as I should be.
Me too. Hey, let's do this. We ran over big time in that first segment. Let's go ahead and take another break real quick so we can get back on schedule. Sure. And when we come back, I got a few. I wanted to set that up to talk about more of this semaglutide stuff. So, and how that can help with all this.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back with Dr. Micah Walker, Men's Health in Mississippi. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by Lakeland Glass and Tint. Check them out today online for a free quote at lakelandglassandtint.com. They got you covered on everything from windshield, automotive glass replacement, to window tint, ceramic coating to protect your clear coat and paint from this dangerous sun and heat out here during the summertime in Mississippi, as well as road grime and small nicks and scratches and stuff of that nature. Also, they got you covered with all your paint protection films. And hey, maybe you want to turn your vehicle into a big rolling billboard with your graphics and logo and all that on it. They can do that too. Full vehicle wraps. Hey, you maybe got a wall inside your building you want to get wrapped. You're a restaurant, want to put your menu on the wall. Possibilities are endless with what they can do at Lakeland Glass and Tint. They were just over at Auburn's Jordan Hare Stadium, rewrapping a bunch of their stuff. They chose Lakeland Glass and Tint for that job. So get over there. The possibilities are endless. LakelandGlassandTint.com. The windshield and automotive glass locations right there on Lakeland Drive in front of Red Arrow and Flowwood. And the everything else, wraps, tint, ceramic coating, all that stuff is located right there on Flowwood Drive, right over there by River Oaks or Merit Health ER. All right, that's LakelandGlassandTint.com. We're joined here in the studio this morning by Dr. Micah Walker with Men's Health of Mississippi and New Care.
Yep.
New Care. And Micah, we got a couple quick questions here from some listeners. One, Lance wanted to say, what side effects or drawbacks let me just read the whole question right. It says, ask him what the side effects or drawbacks are from using semaglutide to lose weight. Are there any?
Yeah. I mean, so the most common side effect with semaglutide or tirzepatide, any of these GLP-1 agonists, which is the class of drugs that we're talking about here, the main side effect that people experience is nausea. Okay. Usually not to the point of vomiting, but nausea. And that is kind of just because of the way the medicine works. It actually slows the stomach down, like it slows how fast the stomach empties. and it also kind of augments the body's response to the hormones, the signals that the stomach sends to the brain to tell you that you're full. So that is the primary side effect of these medications.
I can attest to that.
Most people, and that's one reason why it's really important with these medications that you start with a low dose. And so for the first month, you do the low starting dose. And you may not see a lot of weight loss with that, if you see any at all. But the purpose there is to get your body accustomed to it so that you can move the dose up. And so we titrate the dose up every month. And we basically get to the point where people, where you see the fewest side effects and you're seeing the weight loss results. And that's where we kind of keep people until they plateau. And if they plateau, we can go up on the medication if they're able to tolerate it. But most patients, I would say most patients are going to experience nausea at some point with these medicines, but it's not a unbearable level of nausea. It's and it typically happens when you up the dose or when you get started, and then once your body gets used to the medicine, the side effect goes away, and you just feel nauseous if you overeat. I think you would say,
that's
that
it.
would have been your experience, Clay.
And it goes away. I mean, it's not debilitating nausea. It didn't keep me from getting out of the house.
Yeah,
but it was just like, all right, I need a few minutes to gather myself, and don't put no more food in my mouth.
The other thing that people hear about, and you see in the news and stuff, and on social media, they talk about. You may see the term like Ozempic face, and it's literally when people lose weight. You lose weight all over your body because, and people, if you've been super heavy and you lose weight in your face, your face can actually, you could look not as young because you don't have as much fat in your face anymore. But that's not a side effect of the drug. There's nothing specific about the drug that's causing that. It's the weight loss.
Keto does the exact same thing.
So anything, and so, something I think that's important and we really stress with our patients is like when you're losing weight, you still need, when you're using a drug like Ozempic or anything to help you lose weight, you still need to eat a healthy diet. We recommend, unless there's a medical reason not to, that you eat a pretty high protein diet so that you help spare the protein, you help spare the muscle when you're losing weight aggressively. And that way you're mainly losing fat and not muscle. But, that is on the patient has to, kind of change a bit of their lifestyle as well. Because, if you take those Ozempic and you still drink Cokes and eat crackers and you don't eat healthy, you'll lose weight, but you can lose the wrong kind of weight if you're not changing your relationship with food.
Okay, what they call skinny fat.
Yeah.
Michael, I know you got two more things you want to hit here. We got about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Explain to people why they need to get this from a local physician, from an in-person visit versus one of these online places, and then compare the price points, so to say, from being able to not. You're not going to save any money going online based on the packages y'all have.
Yeah, so, I'll disclose, I'm a bit biased here because I'm a physician that has a local practice and I see my patients. We do physical exams. We put them on a scale. We weigh them. And I'm a bit biased here. I think telehealth is great. I think telehealth is a great tool to help provide more access to patients that already have a relationship with a physician. And we use telehealth in our practice heavily. I love telehealth. But a lot of times these telehealth only options, they can create problems because they only do one thing. They just do weight loss. So they're not really getting any lab work to screen for diabetes or prediabetes. They're not checking liver function. They're not doing all of these things that need to be done to help guarantee your overall health. And so I don't think you can get it done any better than going to see your physician, the person you have a relationship with, and having an actual someone who's actually looking at all aspects of your health, not just your weight. I mean, the weight's a big factor, and that was what was tough over the past year because of the regulations and not being able to use these medications, the compounded medications. A lot of people, have gone and gotten, what we call research grade semaglutide, which means the bottle comes to you and the bottle's labeled not for human use, for research use only. Okay. So a company that would sell you that knowing that you're using it for yourself, it's not just unethical. It's like, it's a money grab. Like, what would those people do to make money? Right? Because they're working, living, not even in a gray area. They're selling you something knowing you're going to use it. And there's been a case of the FDA really coming down on those, but there's so many of those companies out there selling these medicines, and you don't know where the medicine's coming from. You don't know where it's sourced. It's not being produced in a licensed pharmacy. And that's where I think it's important that you talk with your doctor, with your nurse practitioner, with a person that you trust. And if you don't have that person, we'd love to be the people you trust to handle this. But, this is about getting people healthy. So, even ask your doctor about it, if you have somebody you trust. But use, the telehealth companies that are out there monetizing this, and they've built their whole business model on this. I'm always a little leery when I see, physicians and they only treat one thing because they kind of have a vested interest in you having the one thing that they treat. So they kind of got blinders on because they don't take care of everything else. Where in our clinic, if you come in and your blood pressure's high, I mean, I'm a family doctor. I can't not treat your blood pressure. Yeah. So we've approached this particular, business of medicine just like we do everything in my practice. Is we do primary care, and weight loss is a big part of primary care. Testosterone replacement is a big part of primary care for men. And so, but we don't just give up, take our primary care hat off and not treat the other things that impact people's health because we're treating their testosterone. We keep an eye on everything and help somebody manage their health. So that to me is important. I think if you can get this from your physician or from a local physician, somebody who has a practice, who has a place in the community, who you can look in the eye and talk to. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of value in that. And like I said, I'm biased because that's my practice model. But I want to, the relationship you have with the people taking care of you is important, and I think it brings a lot of value to everything.
All right, we got to take our last break real quick. We'll be right back with Dr. Micah Walker to land the plane here for hour one so he can get to work, and we'll tell you all about how to get in touch with him right here on the other side. All right, welcome back in. We got about a minute and a half here left with Dr. Micah Walker out at Men's Health in Mississippi. Guys, look, here's the, if you got any questions, if you're curious in any of this stuff, text weight loss. It don't matter how you do it, gap between the words, space between the words, whatever, they set it up. Text weight loss to 601-327-8550. 601-327-8550. Somebody's going to get in touch with you from the office. They're going to get you an appointment schedule. They're going to answer all your questions, and you'll be working with Dr. Micah and his team over there.
Yeah, and this is for everybody. This is for men, women, moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers. Even teenagers struggling with their weight. There's no reason not to use these medications.
Man, if we could get kids started, losing some weight that are obese now in high school, it could change the trajectory of their life forever.
Yeah.
And that is something
we just really look forward to helping you in your journey. And we appreciate you, Clay, for sharing this and sharing your experience too. I mean, that's a huge thing. And so, Clay's going to be getting back on the meds, and I think he's going to invite you to come along a journey with him because he's working at hitting some goals. And I think you don't have to wait to the new year.
No, my new year started yesterday. It's the my new year ends with my birthday. Micah, thank you, brother.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Yep. Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome back into hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the radio. I turned the incendiariness down a notch for the first hour. We had a guest here in the studio, one of our great advertisers, Dr. Micah Walker with Men's Health of Mississippi. Yeah, guys, I'll kind of close with this. We ran out of time there, but, so if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, my personal accounts, you know that I've gone from like 284 to 255 over the last, 30 days-ish. And they put me a before and after photo up there. And, my goal weight is 225. I don't mind sharing this with y'all. I don't mind y'all coming along this journey with me. My goal weight's 225. I want to lose another 30 pounds-ish. Maybe it's 25 pounds. Maybe it's 20. Well, I'll know when I get there. The doctor reached out and said, hey, we've got the semaglutide, the compounded semaglutide again, because I just saw your picture. He said, why don't we get you hooked up with that and help you get to your goal? He goes, with everything else you're doing, with the intermittent fasting, with the working out, with the carnivore diet, keto, whatever it is. He said, you should see pretty good results, pretty quick. So I was like, you know what? I've done it before. I understand the ups, the downs, the challenges of it, and it's something I'm willing to try to do again. So a lot of the stuff I try to sell y'all on is stuff that I do myself. And if it's something I'm not comfortable with, I'm not going to pass that along to y'all. It's just I can't do that. That's just not how I work. So I'm going to be doing it too. And y'all can follow my journey, and I will give y'all weekly updates of the scales and photos, I guess. As much as I don't like posting photos of myself without a shirt on, I guess I will make a exception to prove a point. So anyway, if y'all are interested in that, man, text weight loss to 601-327-8550. And of course, I got you covered for all your testosterone replacement therapy needs as well. I highly recommend getting on both if you need it. The Guns of Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Real quick, speaking of Mazda of Jackson, the deals are hot this summer at Mazda of Jackson. You already know that, though. Mazda is one of the top 5 most dependable car brands out there, and Mazda of Jackson on I-55 Frontage Road has hundreds of new and used cars available. How about the brand new CX-5 crossover? It's rated 9 out of 10 by Car and Driver. The CX-30 and the CX-90 SUVs both rated 9.5 out of 10. Why couldn't they have just given that other half point? Do they not give nobody a 10? Anyway, they're in stock now at Mazda of Jackson. Mazdas also include a limited lifetime powertrain warranty. Ask about the Mazda of Jackson special financing deals going on right now, too. It's time to choose Mazda. Mazda of Jackson, located right there, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson, right at Briarwood. Or you can check them out online, MazdaofJackson.com. Again, if you want to call in this morning, we're about to talk about Jackson. The Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. Where is the mayor? Where is the mayor of Jackson? Where are any of the leaders in the city of Jackson? There was a mass shooting Friday night in Jackson. I ain't heard a peep. Where's the mayor talking about this literal dumpster fire that's been burning for 3 straight days? It may be out now after the big storm last night, but been burning since Saturday afternoon. Not a press conference, not a tweet. I got Twitter pulled up here. Let's see here. Let's see. The city of Jackson nor the mayor have tweeted in months. The last tweet that Antar put up, it was a retweet from MDOT that had a picture of him cutting a ribbon for some road work. Never wanted to miss an opportunity. I can respect that. That was March 27th. March 27th is the last time Antar tweeted anything, and it was of him doing something, taking credit for something. The city of Jackson, let's see here, city of JXN. The last time they tweeted from the official city account was March 17th. What happened in March that the city decided to quit using Twitter? Anyway, I just thought that was a little funny. But you have a mass shooting. Now, you know, I know, he knows, she know, everybody know that when these shootings are black on black, they're not mass shootings. Clay, that's just gang violence. Interpersonal beef, Clay. It's not mass shooting. Only white people, AR-15s, are mass shooters. It's a black dude with a Glock switch. It's not a mass shooting. You're not supposed to talk about it, you bigot. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because, again, hashtag for the culture strikes again. The rotten urban culture strikes again. One person dead, 5 others seriously injured in a nightclub shooting at the Daiquiri Bar right there on Capitol Street. You may not know where the Daiquiri Bar is. I used to own it back in the day. Not the Daiquiri Bar, but I had a club there in that location. So I take a personal offense to this one. Me and Chip Matthews had one there called The Joint. It was a live music bar. And we used to play a lot. It was called Mother's. It was called the U-Pub. It's been several other things over the years. It's right there on the corner of Roach. Of course it's Roach. Of Roach and Capitol Street. Right catty-cornered from, if you're standing outside the Mayflower restaurant looking across the street, you're looking at it. If you're staying at the King Edward, you look downstairs, right across the street, you're looking at it. So, you know what's wild about this one, and I was going to ask where JPD was in this, but this is actually happening in the Capitol Police area. No shooter has been named. They haven't identified the shooter yet. I don't know if maybe the shooter is one of the 6 that were injured or dead. I don't know if he got away or what. Just heard the news update there in the break. It said that they have not identified any of the victims' names or any of that stuff yet. So I trust that the Capitol Police are doing their ever-loving best to get this figured out. I would like to hear something from them today, some kind of update on what's going on with it. Are there video? Do we know who the shooter is? But you know as well as I know that if that shooter had been white, this would be a whole nother story. Chokwe would be up there. It would be his moment in the sun. It would be his George Floyd moment. Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, Joy Reid, MSNBC, CNN. They'd all be skydiving out of planes on Capitol Street right now. Parachuting. I see some racisms. But you get none of that. You get none of that free publicity for the city when it's just another black-on-black mass shooting. They don't care about that. That doesn't fit the narrative. This city is so broken. I was listening to Kenneth Stokes. Kenneth Stokes did an interview on Super Talk with Mary Whedon, I think that's her name. Mary does that good news show, whatever it is on there. And it was actually a really good interview. And Stokes uncorked. And I'll say, anybody that hadn't watched it or seen it, I got the YouTube clip. I don't mind sharing it with you. You know, because it's not about views and clicks for me. It's about people hearing the truth and proving my point. That Sean and I have been right every step of the way. And I hate to keep driving that home, but we get called liars and all this other stuff so much by other people in the media, mind you, that when we're right, we're going to spike the ball, son. But Stokes called it out, and I thought it was a really good interview. He talked about, it looks like that some of the people involved in this had till July 31st to accept whatever pleas they were being offered, or it was going to go to trial. Lee, I think she did the right thing. I mean, I'm not going to commend her for it, like I saw so many other people do, that it really shows her character that she stepped up and admitted her wrongs. No, it didn't. She did what was best for her because it was going to be the best deal to stay her ass out of prison. Or not to have to go as long. I'll commend her for it. She still did it. Aaron Banks. I want to say allegedly because we don't know for sure, but allegedly involved. I mean, if you're sitting back there and you know dang well that you're having to do a special election for one of these seats, you probably end up having to do one for 2 to 3. If y'all are involved, do what's right by that. You ain't done nothing right by the city yet. Nothing. You have not done anything right by the city of Jackson in forever. Some of them never, because they ain't been on the board that long. The council, I mean. Do what's right and step down, and maybe you run again later if you're found to have not been involved. Or whatever. But look, that's a Hail Mary there. The people are most likely involved in this thing. It's a moot point. Let's have one special election, save the city some money, and move on from this. Chokwe. I know I don't want Chokwe to step down. I want him to fight it. I want him to ride it out. I want a big old trial, court TV, all that. I want all that with Chokwe. I want to enjoy every minute of it, put it in my veins. Jody. Same for him. I didn't know Anthony Fox before his situation with Jody and Chokwe. But I 100% believe in karma. And because I think Chokwe had something to do with, 100% think Chokwe had something to do with Jody pursuing Anthony. And I think this is karma coming back to bite them in the butt. And I think, of course, the garbage contract. Listening to Stokes on Super Talk, this all stems back to that garbage contract and that crap show that went on during that. And you got FBI offices right here in Jackson. Man, they see that. They see what's going on. You thought they just going to ignore it? Let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there?
Yeah, this is Sayed show.
Do I know? Yeah. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, yeah, Clay. Okay, good. I'm making sure I got this a little drawback. It's interesting you brought up if the shooter was white downtown at the Daiquiri bar. It'd be MSNBC and all them down here. Well, yeah, I guess we see since the public officials that are crooked or black, the cops came and got them a whole lot faster than that welfare scandal. But while we on public corruption, what do you think about the beef between Shad White and Mike Hurst in his little book and how he possibly interfered with the election? Because they stole a whole lot more money than Angelique Lee and all them folks in Jackson, and all the people involved in that still hadn't went to jail, while these black people on their way to jail or being prosecuted already. So what you think about that?
Well, I did a whole week's worth of show. Well, you'll hang up instead of having to hear my answer, but you can listen. We did a whole week's worth of shows about that last week, so you must be new here. If Shad White hadn't have rushed it and insisted on taking it to Jody Owens, all those people probably would have got arrested by the feds. But everybody was too busy spiking the ball and doing their touchdown dance before it was time to do it, that you possibly screwed yourselves out of being able to have all those people arrested. Again, we had Mike Hurst here on the show last Monday. Go back and listen to the podcast before anybody else. So are you calling in here trying to play that but what if game? We was already on it. We was on it before anybody else. So educate yourself before you try to call in here and get me some gotcha moment. We call it out no matter who's doing it, son. Mike Hurst sat right here and said they should have let the feds handle that case because of their resources. And there's no telling who else you may have got caught. But because Shad had to go grab that headline and write the book without an ending, there's no telling who they're not going to get. Now, rumors have it, the doctor The doctor that Brett was a Van Landingham or whatever down in Florida that he was tied in with, he's been indicted. Brett may get indicted. We're going to find out. If he does, we'll talk about it. But I'm just still going to be honest. As bad as that is, what they've been doing to Jackson, they have intentionally let Jackson rot like a corpse while doing nothing but profiting themselves for way too long. That affects everybody. The welfare scandal sucks. And the people who actually got the money are in jail. The news are in jail. So I think some of y'all are half educated on that whole TAMP scandal. Because you just get so wrapped up in the white quarterback and Brett Favre. And I saw, you get these idiots like Brad Franklin running around here doing documentaries and stuff that have nothing to do with it. It's just white people did black people wrong, stole welfare money. Well, I mean, are y'all saying only black people are on welfare? That's interesting. Let's take a break. We got a whole lot more to talk about this morning. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. They're going to be in town this Friday, so you got till Thursday around lunchtime to get your order in to experience the grass-fed difference. 100% grass-fed, 100% grass-finished, locally grown, whatever you want to call it, right here in Mississippi, down in Perkinston, Mississippi, a little further south. mRNA-free and antibiotic-free, steroid-free, Mississippi-raised beef. Man, it's so good. Tried some of that ground beef. As a matter of fact, they got ground beef on sale this month for $7.25 a pound, regardless of the amount. They also have a mini cow option as well. 10 pounds ground beef, 10 pounds of roast, and 5 pounds of steak, all 10% off the list price. Get in touch with Miss Katie Stonington today. You're just going to go online. It's real simple. StoningtonFarm.com. You're going to click the little things that view our cuts. It's got updated pricing. It's got all the different cuts available. I mean, I just talk a lot about hamburger ground beef and and steaks on here. But, man, they offer so much more than just that. Some of the bone broth and all that other stuff and all the different cuts of steak and everything that's available. You can check it out there. There's going to be a phone number there. You're going to call Miss Katie. She's going to answer any questions you may have. And she's going to take your order herself. She's going to text you a photocopy of your receipt with your order, make sure everything's right, exactly how much it's going to be, the whole 9 yards. Excuse me. And boom, you'll meet them in either Brandon, Ridgeland, or Florence at one of their designated meetup spots. You'll get your order. You can't just show up and try to buy it off the truck unless you put your order in. That's not how this works. So you got to order in advance. And you'll thank me later. Just trust me on this. I see the same people every month picking up their order there at the Home Depot parking lot in Brandon whenever they come up here. So you'll probably see me out there. Check them out online, StoningtonFarm.com. I'm going to remind you every day this week to Thursday, get that order in now. You will not regret it. Best hamburger meat you'll ever use. Man, so good. All right. Let's check out the text line here. Teddy says, you can't tweet when the feds have your phone. Great point. Forgot. Yeah. I keep slipping my mind that the feds took Chakaway's phone for about a month. On the Guns and Gear text line, Steve says, this text line freezes up on me, man. It's the Google Voice app. So I could create a separate number. Anyway, Steve says the mayor's too busy sunbathing in the Dominican Republic to know what's going on in Jackson on the weekends. That's right. Yeah, he's got that conference on integrity and transparency in Puerto Rico with the other crooked Democrat mayors. Whew, good stuff. Let's see here. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to read some text. Somebody sent me a lot of stuff about an alderman racing Pearl, I guess. It's not really my lane. I'll have to look into it. All right. I think we're caught up on text. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-9930. 1944. I want to go back. This is only 26 seconds long. I hadn't even listened to it. We're going to do this together. This is WLBT. This is WLBT talking about the shooting. Why is it doing that? It's weird. Anyway, bear with me 1 second. I had to reset it. So I got to run my mouth for 15 seconds so you don't have to hear the ad from the WLBT video, but the video is only 30 seconds. I don't know if there's any updated information or not. But yeah, I mean, old dude called a second ago can get mad all he wants about me mentioning that black people get away with stuff around here, and they just don't want to accept that. So if it can't be used to fit a political narrative, they don't talk about it, and that's just fact. You're only allowed to mention people involved in bad news. Well, let me rephrase that. I say this all the time. What I've learned since I started doing all this is you're not allowed to mention that somebody's black if they do anything wrong, or unless they've been done wrong or did something good. So first black this, first black that, or whatever. That's the only time you're allowed to mention somebody's black, is if they got done wrong by somebody of another race, or they did something, some accomplishment, some achievement. Any other time, you're not allowed to mention it. Well, I think that's BS. I don't mind mentioning the other times, when they got done wrong, or did some, or accomplished something. I'm not really here to pat you on the back. We don't do accomplishments on this show, so you had to go somewhere else for that. But we don't do that for white people or anybody else either, for that matter. But there's an urban culture rot going on around here, and it's coming on from one group of people. I mean, the overwhelmingly majority, one group of people is urban black Democrats, are causing a lot of hell in and around the city, whether it's the corrupt politicians or the gangbangers out in the streets. I watched a documentary on YouTube yesterday called Most Dangerous City in Mississippi. This guy does a string of these documentaries. He's like an Indian dude. And it's the most dangerous city, fill in the state. And he was in Jackson and a couple other little Jackson, Natchez, and somewhere up in the Delta that I'd never even heard of before. And he was interviewing the people, and somebody shared it. He goes, "Man, they made us look bad in this video." No, they didn't. They portrayed y'all extremely accurately. Now, there's a bunch of really good black folks out there who ain't doing this foolishness. Y'all know I'm not talking to y'all. And that's where the line gets blurred here, is a lot of you feel like y'all have to defend the lowest common denominator in your demographic, and you don't. I don't defend white trash. I don't make excuses for white trash's bad behavior. You don't have to make excuse for Jackson thugs. They're trash. And they act like it. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was listening to your show, but one thing that stood out to me is the making excuses for certain people. And one big example we saw just a couple of years back, if you recall, was the instance of Greta Bully. She comes from a prominent family. Family owns Bully's Restaurant. Apparently, her father is Constable John Brown, and she murdered a man in broad daylight. Shot him down with her car inside of her car. Shot outside of her car at a man holding food in his hand, eating his chicken. And she killed him.
Hey, don't forget. She came back and did it again just in case.
Yes, came back and did it again just in case. And not only was she not arrested for murdering this man in broad daylight, her neighbors had to get out in the streets. Poor people in Vernon Addition had to get out to Bullies and protest for weeks in order for the state or the city to do something. So when she was finally indicted, Jody Owens brought her into court. She got a slap on the wrist and was let go back to Madison. But they expect certain people to be able to come into Jackson and lord over us plebeians and us be so ignorant or just so low self-esteem that we think so highly of them that we won't be critical of them. But there's no way in the world that a person should be able to be shot down in broad daylight with witnesses and in such a scandalous fashion. And not only are they not charged, but when they are charged, they're given a slap on the wrist and allowed to go back home to the comfortable home in Madison. So, yeah, I mean, it's no excuse. If anybody want to call in and say what you're saying is not true, they ought to be able to give credible reasons where the full weight and credibility of the law was actually held against powerful black people in this city, because I'm not seeing it.
You know, this is before I had a radio show. It was when I first started the Save Jackson platform. You know, I actually broke that story about Greta because I'd been online the night before looking and saw that she had been booked into Hinds County for murder. She and it had the book time and the release time. She wasn't out there 2 hours. And I was like, well, hold on. I recognize that name, you know, and I ended up breaking that story. And of course it blew up from there. I don't even know anybody even knew it was me or whatever, but neither here nor there. Yeah, that was when I got on early, man. And that's when I really woke up and started paying attention to what was going on around here. And that's about the same time that my Save Jackson platform pivoted from pictures of empty buildings to what it's turned into, more of a exposing corruption and ridiculousness at this point. But yep, that was the first one. I'm glad you brought that up. It tends to slip my mind every now and then.
Say, last time I called in, I mentioned, you know, it's one thing to address the thugs because we have several news outlets every single night that are going to, at least to some degree, address the mayhem that the thugs wreak havoc on our city. But, you know, had it not been for smaller outlets and for protests, Greta Bully's case would have been swept under the rug. And we see right now in the public comments and the public sentiment that there isn't really a true reckoning with the fact that a person like an Angelique Lee, how she can be ushered into that position. And the only true credibility that she can have is that she comes from a prominent family, and you all think that she may or may not have some money in her bank account somewhere. We haven't been able to reckon with the fact that that's how she was ushered into the seat, and she scammed us. She attempted to scam the city and the constituents of Ward 2, but they're all caught up into this us versus them game. And my question is, I don't know who certain, you know, black people in our community in Jackson think they're going up against. Who is that man? Because as far as I can see, the people they support are in cahoots with white contractors. They're in cahoots with subcontractors of all colors. They're in cahoots with any nefarious group that can come into the city and say, oh, we have X, Y, and Z plans. They have the red carpet rolled out for them. But longstanding neighborhood associations and communities and ordinary people who live and pay taxes are not given the opportunity to actually elevate their neighborhoods or their communities as far as the city assisting them. We don't get that opportunity. Man. So I just wanted to say that.
Another great phone call, brother. Thank you. That's what I love to hear, man. People who can call it out. There is no us versus them. There is no black versus white. There's no white man holding anybody down in Jackson. The people holding Jackson down, you know, are people in Jackson holding it down. There's a group of people here. Kim Wade talks about it a lot. There's a group of people here who are constantly enriching themselves while giving nothing back to the community. They may go out and give some turkeys or some nonsense. They may do a bicycle giveaway. I'll never forget a couple of years ago, a bunch of big drug dealers got together and gave away an 18-wheeler full of bicycles, and it got news coverage. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? But anyway, I digress. It's you can't, and this whole, I need to take a break, but I got to get this off my chest first. This mentality of these people trying to defend Angelique Lee with the everybody's doing it. Well, you know what your mama used to tell you when you was young. Well, you got caught. You got caught. It's like you get pulled over. You and 7 or 8 other cars going down the interstate speeding. Cop pulls you over. You say, everybody else is doing it. Yeah, well, I pulled you over. That's the risk you take when you commit crimes. You may get caught. And that's what they've done. We got some great text on the Guns and Gear text line. I'm going to get to on the other side of the break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, lunch today. Martin's downtown Jackson, or the all-new location right there at Livingston in Madison County. The town of Livingston is now Martin's at Livingston. They also have the Martin's Market, little gas station. It's open now if you want to grab some breakfast. Stop by if you're out in the area on the corner of 463 and 16, I believe, and get you a chicken biscuit, fill up with gas. And the chicken biscuits and sausage biscuits made from scratch, biscuits made fresh every morning, hand battered, all that good stuff. Of course, you already know they got the best blue plates, one of the best blue plates in all of central Mississippi every day over there at Martin's. Of course, they had the full menu. You know what I'm going to say. That country fried steak is the go-to. But I'm telling you, if you're watching what you eat, man, they got the grilled chicken tenders. And I can get like that and green beans. And a lot of places overcook their chicken tenders or their grilled chicken patties. Not Martin's. Like you can cut into it and the juice just comes out of it. They got it figured out, the proper cook time on their white meat chicken, and it is so good. You're not sacrificing any quality, just if you decide to choose a little healthier route and go with the grilled chicken over there. But check them out 7 days a week. Martin's downtown or Martin's at Livingston. Football season is upon us. They're going to have all the games on, all the big screens. They got the outside decks, patios for your smokers or people who just want to enjoy the weather, and much, much more. Cold drinks, live music, great food, good times. Martin's. Check them out online, Martin's Downtown, jxn.com. I'm not sure if there's a website for the Livingston location, but they got a Facebook page. Just go search Martin's Livingston for the live music lineups. All right, while we're railing on Jackson, let's read a few texts real quick, and then something from the airport. Spartacus just said the daiquiri bar is closed until further notice. I did see that. I think that's something that they chose. I actually know the owner of the daiquiri bar. I hate this is happening to him, but as a former nightclub owner, man, I'm just going to tell y'all something. I said this on the show not too long ago. The easiest thing you can do is keep somebody from getting shot in your bar. Like, to me, that's just like the bare minimum requirement for operating a business, especially one that has security guards and you're searching people as they come in. You have to be able to keep guns out of your club. You just do. Now, this also can make the argument, like my buddy Tyler Tharp, who's a big 2A guy. This actually lends credence to his argument that good guys with guns should be able to take theirs into places with alcohol. And if you have lax security, letting people sneak in Glock switches, guns with Glock switches, I don't know. I'm conflicted. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, make this a 2A conversation. We had 2 people check you before you got in my club. Once on the street level, once at the mezzanine when you paid. Once or twice, we had somebody get a gun past the first security guard. The second guy called it. We fired the first guy. You got one job, bro. You got one job. So, and I don't want to sit here and blame it on the club, because the club didn't make the guy sneak the gun in and shoot the people. So be real clear there. But I imagine there's going to be some liability issues here. And but these are the venues that the mayor wanted downtown. He got them. Something else that they're doing a terrible job with at the city of Jackson is the airport. I had a friend of mine call me Friday. He was like, "Clay, have you ridden down the new airport parkway and notice Brandon keeps their grass cut, Flowood keeps their grass cut, but the part of the parkway that's managed by the city of Jackson and the airport authority, they don't keep their grass cut. They don't keep it cleaned up. None of that. You got this beautiful new parkway coming through there. And Jackson, the part Jackson's responsible for, paint me shocked in being taken care of. And that's just on the outside. I got a friend of mine who flies out of town a good bit for work, tagged me in a photo yesterday. I screenshot it and shared it across my social platforms. And it's a picture of the broken escalator inside the airport. And on the surface, you may just say, well, Clay, stuff breaks. They got to get it scheduled to fix, so on and so forth. I'm going to read what she posted here. She says, "This has not been working since April. What are they waiting on? Why don't they just fix this? In July, the elevator was not working as well, so you had no choice but to carry your luggage upstairs. Really? Everyone isn't able to do that. Do better, people." Then she says, "Update. A stall in the ladies' restroom has a door missing. She says, "Are we running a downtown? Are we at a rundown nightclub or an airport?" It's very funny because Jackson is ran like a rundown nightclub. It really is. They run it like a rundown nightclub. That's the best analogy I've heard in a while. And, of course, in the comments, people are talking about other things that are talking about how long that thing's actually been screwed up. And somebody else said that, it's actually a nice introduction to Jackson. If you're just flying in, you get to the airport, you see all the stuff wrong, and it helps prepare you and not set any false expectations for the kind of city you're about to venture off into. But I say all that to say this. While the city is a wounded duck, while you have council people, the DA, and possibly the mayor, allegedly, fighting for their freedoms, it would be a really good time to come in for the state legislator, have a special session, and take back the airport. Yes, take it back. I also think it's a good time to go ahead and change the laws or whatever it is they got to do. And I have reached out to my councilman. I have reached out to my state representative and told him my opinions. Fred Shanks has a phone full of texts from me with all my great ideas. And it's time for them to put Jackson in a conservatorship of some sort. I don't know how they got to do it, what the legalities are figuring that out, but it's time to do that and try to get Jackson back straight. Because, it's like the previous phone calls we talked about. It's just everybody wants theirs. Everybody thinks I can do it without getting caught. I want my cut. I want in on these contracts, these minority set-aside contracts. I mean, that's why Chokwe's fighting Jackson Water tooth and nail for the ability to steer those contracts. I mean, he's just doing it wide-ass out in the open because he wants his cut from his preferred contractors, in my opinion, allegedly. So it's time for the adults to get back in the room. The petulant children have destroyed the city. And and the thing is, it obviously affects the surrounding cities negatively. And a buddy of mine's a cop for Richland posted something. I shared it on Facebook yesterday. We really don't give Richland enough credit for being as good as they are of keeping Richland safe as close as it is to Jackson. Same for Pearl. And Flowood, frankly. The fact that they let the cops be the cops, and y'all just don't know the crap they put up with that don't make the news. The stuff they do. Now, some of y'all will call it racism because it's cops pulling over Jacksonians and tuning them up. Well, if they're doing something wrong, they got what they deserve. What do we call it here? Fa-foed. Let's come back and land the plane for the day. Welcome back in as we get ready to land the plane here today. I want to thank Dr. Micah Walker, Men's Health of Mississippi New Care, for coming on, talking to us about compounded semaglutide. It's a generic name for Ozempic. And they got it available there at Men's Health of Mississippi. That was a great talk. I want to thank callers, even the ones that disagree with me, for calling in. You got me fired up today. I appreciate that. Get my blood pressure pumped up on a Monday morning. We got a big week of shows planned for y'all this week. Can't wait. We got coming up next, I think you got the Chip Matthews show, followed by Jamison Haygood from 10 to noon. And then, of course, Kim Wade, Radio Strongman, going to bring us home 4 to 6 today to wrap up our live entertainment here on WYB. I will see y'all tomorrow morning, same time.